My colleague on the dais, Shri Mayank Jain, investigative news journalist, credited with producing some great films on national security. My incoming colleague, Ajay Umat, senior editor with the Times of India, who needs no further introduction, at least in Baroda and Gujarat. And my dear students who have gathered here, I am told from far-flung corners of the country. So first, let me wish you a very happy Republic Day. The theme of this session is very interesting. In this age of 2G and CWG scams, one can go on praising endlessly the media's role, rather positive role, in youth and nation building. Truly, if the media's role was stellar in inculcating the nationalist spirit during the Kargil war, campaigns like Save the Tiger and Save the Indian Coast have shown the social commitment of the media in general. Indeed, the media has played a very major role in exposing corruption at a time when it was seen as a dead issue, and the term value-based politics, which was so popular, if people present here will recall, say 2 decades ago, had virtually got buried in the debris of stinking corruption. In doing so, the media has made the new generation aware about the pitfalls of corruption, besides many other key issues. But there is a big other side to the media's role in youth and nation building, which I will call its weaker side. In fact, a section of the media can also be justifiably blamed for not inculcating in today's youth nationalism based on the true cultural ethos of this country. Rather, it can be accused of winning the youth away from the path of true national spirit based on Indian ethos. As the anchor rightly said, the media has got a positive and a negative side. Friends, I have chosen to highlight the negative side of the media today. Since we have paucity of time, we cannot go on endlessly speaking on this subject. I am here today to do a critical evaluation of the media's role in shaping the national character of today's youth. I believe a large section of the media, particularly electronic media, is blinded by TRP-based journalism, television rating points-based journalism to be precise, which has little concern for national honor or pride. Human qualities which can be inculcated in the youth only if they are made aware about the richness of India's ancient culture and heritage. The line between hard and responsible news and entertainment is getting blurred in today's news channels, as titillating dance programs and other shows dominate even the leading news channels. What is indeed distressing is that certain news channels are selling blind faith as part of our core culture. So, Shani Dev, Shani Bhagwan, is today shown as some kind of a demon, when the fact is that he is the god of discipline and justice, who keeps humanity on the right path by punishing people for their wrong deeds. Worse, sex is being used as a device by news channels to enhance their TRP. So you find condom ads in between news bulletins, which is simply inexplicable. A vast section of the media today is immersed in enhancing its TRP without any concern to what its impact would be on the youth and budding children. Even the influx of crime programs based on rape, loot and murder in news channels are creating havoc with the young minds. Many youngsters have turned to crime after taking a leaf out of one of these programs. And those who are not watching some of these entertainment or crime programs are instead watching the soaps, many of which have no social or inspiring message. Some of these programs are like anesthesia. They virtually make you their captive and snatch away your ability to sense and distinguish the good from the bad. As the great poet Gulzar rightly pointed out recently in the Jaipur Literature Festival, ये टीवी की चुड़ैल बच्चों को खा जाएगी. I think he was very harsh, but I think he was on the point too. So when the media should be connecting the youth at social and family level, it is virtually disconnecting it. Dear students, tell me from the core of your heart, how comfortable you are while watching a condom or an obscene ad in the company of your parents or the family. I think in almost all the cases, both the parents and their grown-up kids are most uncomfortable while watching such ads, but such is the overpowering effect of the media that none of them are able to speak out for the fear of offending each other or because they feel too awkward talking about it. I have been trying to do my bit when it comes to use of obscenity as a tool by the media to enhance its TRP or earn ad revenues. 8 years ago, when Jaipal Reddy was the Union Information and Broadcasting Minister, I had met him to impress upon him the need to take steps to curb obscenity on the channels. Then I had also impressed upon the RSS leadership about the need to start a movement cutting across religious and political lines to curb obscenity being promoted in public domain by channels, advertisers, and filmmakers. However, the kind of steps needed both at the level of the government as well as the society have not come so far. I will share an interesting experience on this. About 3 years ago, when I was the Gujarat Media Club president, I had the occasion to interact with a Hindi news journalist, a very leading person, who is also the owner of a Hindi channel that is one of the highest TRP today. The channel is known for doing programs based on stories woven around blind faith, ghost, and such frivolous and bogus stuff that is titillating for the ordinary man on the street. I asked him why his channel couldn't come up with cleaner and more inspiring stories. The reply he gave me was interesting. He said, for 2 years after floating the channel, he tried his best to stick to ethics he had been taught as a journalist and sought advertisements from the corporate sector based on channel's journalistic performance. But he failed in his attempt. Then he said he drew a new strategy, weaving it around a set of titillating programs calculated to woo the lower masses. And he said he was shocked to find his channel's TRP soaring and same corporate houses making a beeline to give advertisements to his channel. What he wanted to say was that the media can only be a mirror of what is happening in the society. However, I disagree on this and strongly feel that it is the duty of the media, whether electronic or print, to depict a correct, positive, and clean picture before the masses and not get driven by TRP alone. Clearly, the foremost charge against a section of the media is of misleading the youth by wrong or motivated reporting driven by ideological or personal vengeance, or just the TRP. A section of such media has had a role to play in creating an atmosphere of religious hatred amongst today's youth. For example, religious leaders or icons of the majority community are often sold in negative light when they speak strong religious language, while the same media keeps silent or underplays when the same thing is done by a section of the minority community leaders. Significantly, a vast section of the media has failed to highlight the moderates in the Muslims, amongst the Muslims, and the persecution they face from the religious fanatics within the community. I think the media does this out of a misguided sense of minoritism and because of fear of retaliation from the Muslim radicals. This has a direct impact on the youth of the non-Muslims because many of them are simply unaware that there are moderates within the Muslim community and see the entire community as radical. I sincerely believe that had the media employed a uniform yardstick, then the level of religious hatred would have been much lower in the society today. Now let us take up the case of Anna Hazare's anti-corruption movement. When Hazare started the movement, only a section of the media which was truly devoted to exposing corruption backed him. And a vast section of the media tried to underplay his efforts under the pressure of the powers that be. I still remember in the initial 3-4 days when only 1 or 2 channels were giving due publicity to Anna Hazare, I called up one of the channels which was doing a good job. And he said that Uday, I feel highly encouraged. Because I mean, this is sweet music to my ears, you know. And suddenly, because of this campaign, the TRP of those 2 channels started going up. And then what happened? I'll narrate it. But as the movement caught public imagination, all sections of the media joined to support his movement, driven by the pressure of TRP. Today, some months later, the Lokpal Bill movement seems to be weakening, as the response to Hazare's Mumbai event recently showed. Has Hazare changed in these few months? No. Neither he nor any of his close colleagues has undergone any change during this brief period. But the media has certainly changed towards Hazare, who has now been projected as an autocrat. Here comes the issue of ethics. Should the media get driven by just TRP or other external pressures, or should it execute its duties without caring for these pressures? This is the most live debate today when it comes to media ethics. Another case is of our Chief Minister Narendra Modi. Even today, if you go by the reporting of some of the national channels, then Modi would come out as an unpopular leader. But when you move across India and talk to people on railway stations, airports, tea stalls or bus stands, you find that he is one of the most popular leaders across the country. Who is responsible for this dichotomy? I got the same feeling recently when I saw a leading news channel interviewing an Indian foreign affairs expert defending China's aggressive military posture against India. Is there any patriotic Indian who can defend China's aggressive anti-India actions in recent times? I think there is nobody. If there is one, then he can't be called a patriot. Why should a leading news channel allow platform to a pro-China Indian in this situation, when China is doing all possible, putting all possible efforts to corner India on its frontier, northeast frontier? Now let us look at an interesting fact in the form of an example. You will help me to know that correct reporting and clean programs can also ensure high TRP for a channel. For example, one English news channel is known for taking strong and correct pro-nationalist line while covering Indo-Pak or Indo-China relations, and even on homegrown terror. And still it has one of the highest TRP amongst English news channels. Here I must thank my magazine India Today for giving me the requisite freedom to give my honest and unorthodox analysis even on controversial issues. What is then the solution? I think the answer can be in the form of a mass movement of a committed youth cutting across religious lines to bring the media on track and help it come out of the TRP trap. I may share with you here that there are enough provisions in the law of the land to curb obscenity in public domain, but these have to be invoked by concerned citizens. I will cite the example of a Christian group which organized both Hindus and Muslims in Bangalore a couple of years ago and forced some corporate houses to stop issuing ads with sexual overtones through a sustained series of demonstrations and signature campaigns. Another solution is a mass youth movement to inculcate in the youngsters the habit of watching good TV programs. I would call it a movement aimed at inspiring healthy TV viewing. The movement should make a list of good TV programs, including news programs and channels, and then popularize them amongst the youth with a strong social message. I'm sure if a committed band of youths spread across India takes up these objectives, then good results can be obtained. Maybe what I have said today appears frivolous to some of you. Then some of you might also think, how does it matter when almost everything good or bad being beamed or printed is available on the internet for the youngsters? My take is different. I feel it does matter since the child starts TV or seeing the photos in the newspapers in his infancy and learns the internet much later. So what you sow will ultimately reap for you. If a family cultivates the habit of healthy reading or TV viewing from the beginning, then that has direct impact on the children when they grow up. Before ending my keynote address, I must thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to share my rather unorthodox thoughts with such an exciting group of youngsters. Thanks, all of you.